Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Ascot Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 19th of October 2024. It's Champions Day from Ascot, and I'm going to look at all the races on the program. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me in 2 weeks' time for my Breeders' Cup preview from Del Mar. It looks like it's going to be an excellent Breeders' Cup this year, so I hope you check that out. But it's Champions Day from Ascot. It seems it's always like tradition. You have always demanding ground here, so you're going to have some giving the ground. It's going to be a sloppy day on the course, but I think you can make some money with some of these races. So we have 6 races to look at right now, all connected in the place pod here. So let's get to it right now. The first race, the 1:20 local post time. It's the Group 2 British Champions Long Distance Cup. It's a Group 2 event for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $571,500. Races for 3-year-olds and upwards, field of 9 horses, going 3,200 meters or 2 miles over the flat course, the inner flat course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 7-horse Trawler Man. I'm going to go 765 in the TriCash trifecta. 765 TriCash trifecta. Top selection, 7-horse Trawler Man. This 6-year-old gelding by Golden Horn here. Godolphin, Jonathan Gazin trains. William Buick gets the mount. Blinkers on today. Most recent outing came at Ascot locally on the 20th of June on quite fast ground considered to today. 2.5 miles in the Ascot Gold Cup, and he finished second by a length by Krippos. He was on the front end. He got overtaken late by Krippos, who just had the jump on him, but he didn't go down without a fight. I thought he fought back that day. First off, a little bit refreshing. I think it was a half bad race. He's the kind of horse. He's making his third start of the season here. Off the bench here. I think he could really run that good race and get the job done. He's the kind of horse that can run on any ground. The demanding ground shouldn't really be a problem with him today. He ran 2 back in the Group 2 Dubai Gold Cup in Maidan, 2 miles the 30th of March, and he finished third by 3 3/4 lengths that day, and he settled well towards the back of the pack. Tower of London really took off clear, but this horse, he really gained a lot that day. Not a bad race in the feet off the bench. And then last year's, long distance cup here at Ascot, over the 2 miles nearly, he won by a neck. He stalked. He got to the other side of Krippos that day, and Sweet William, the stablemate, he ran his heart out that day. That was a very impressive run. And then prior to that, he ran the Rose Bowl Stakes at Newmarket over the 2 miles, winning by 18 lengths that day, 20 cents to the dollar. He only had 2 other rivals that day, but still, that was a very impressive run. Since coming to the longer trip, he's really improved a lot. He had it's going to be the 3rd time he's running this race. Last year, he had a massive third. 2 years ago, he had a great 3rd place finish behind Trushan and Coltrane. Come back here, he can win. It wouldn't surprise me if the stablemate, the 6-horse Sweet William for Rab Havlin and John Thaddeus wins also. His race in the Doncaster Cup, he didn't get out of the gate so clearly, but after that, he really took off clear late, really getting a hand ride to the wire. Before that, the Goodwood Cup, he just again didn't break, which is a thing with him, but he ran well behind Krippos. He likes the soft going. He won at Goodwood in the a couple summers ago on very soft going quite easily. I'm going to give him a shot here, but don't throw out the O'Brien and more Krippos here. He's undefeated this year. He's 6 for 6, beginning the season off in the Levmos at Navan. Came back to win the Prix de Cajaran a few weeks ago on soft ground at Longchop. Quick turnaround from his previous race, so you might see a little bit of a tired horse here, and he just kind of missed last year in this race, but off the quick turnaround. So that's going to be my biggest question with him. But he has a serious ability here. He's probably your best stayer in the world right now. But I'll use him in the place pot beginning off. It's very good staying. Race to begin off the program, but to recap my selection for the 1:20, the first race from Ascot, it's the Group 2 British Champions Long Distance Cup. We're going to go take the 7-horse Trawler Man as a top selection, give kudos to the 6-horse Sweet William and the 5-horse Krippos. 765 TriCash trifecta, use all 3 of them in the multi-race. Let's get to the second race now from Ascot, the 155, which is the Group 1 British Champion Sprint Stakes. It's a Group 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a purse $635,000, races for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 20 horses entered to go 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 16 horse, who is Kind of Blue. 16-4-3 for me in the TriCash trifecta, and I know, call me crazy giving out a trifecta in a 20 horse field, but I just give you my top 3. But the top selection is 16 horse Kind of Blue. This 3-year-old called by Blue Point here. James Fanshaw trains. James Doyle gets on the mount, gets the mount for this one. They ran the horse most recently about a month ago at Haydock on fast ground for Haydock, it seems. 6 furlongs in the Group 1 Sprint Cup, where he finished second by a head on a 14-1 that day. He stalked. He got the lead. He got overtaken late by the eventual winner Stasbib, who's running back in this one today, ran, upset at 25-1, really gaining a lot of ground. But this horse, he ran his heart out in the front end. Hopefully, not too eager early on where he can get a good, tracking trip and he'll get the good turn of foot. I think he can win here today. I think a stand-side poster with him today is really going to be the key for him to get the job done. Also, the ground shouldn't be a problem. He's won on good ground and on ground with slight given a few starts back, or which I don't think is that bad. He ran 2 back in the Phoenix Stakes, the Cur over the 6, and he finished second by a head. And he stalked that day, gained a lot of ground late. He just missed, but again ran his heart out. He saw a good pace to close up into that day. And then the Hackwood at Newbury over the 6, finishing third by a length that day. Again, he was with them early on. He just couldn't get there late, but he a little bit closer than he normally is. But he ran his heart out. He ran here back in June in the Commonwealth Cup, where he had a decent 4th place finish by 3 1/4 lengths that day, where again he just couldn't get going late. But since then he's really improved a lot. Coming here today, 7-1, I think he could win. I think the 4 horse here, who is Kinross, Ross Ryan, and Ralph Beckett, he's the kind of horse, he's just been consistent as he gets up there in age. He always runs these good races. 2 back in the Park Stakes at Doncaster over the 7. He won by 2 lengths and closing up from mid-pack. I thought that was a very good race. Came back to run 2 weeks ago in the Prix de la Forêt, where he ran a massive place by 3 lengths, again closing up well by Ramatuli that day. His races, here at Ascot, he's a winner of 5 offerings locally. He likes running here. He just has won a Champions Day in a little bit. But he nearly won this race last year, cutting back and trip. He can handle given the ground. He gets a very good outside poster today. If he's going to win on Champions Day, I think it's going to be today. So we'll use him in the place pot here. But to recount my selection for the 155, the second race from Ascot, it's the Group 1 British Champion Sprint Stakes. Going to take a shot with the 16 horse Kinda Blue. Give kudos to the 4 horse Kinross, 16-4-3, Tricast Trifecta, 16-4 in the place pot. The third race at 235 now from Ascot. It is the Group 1 British Champions Fillies and Mayor Stakes. It's a Group 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $635,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards, Fillies and Mayors only. 14 horses are going 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. I'm going to go with the number 8 horse here, Time Lock. I'm going to go 8-3-10 in the Tricast Trifecta. 8-3-10 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection 8 horse, Time Lock. This 5-year-old mare by Frankel here. Harry Carlton trains this one. Ross Ryan gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Group 3 Dubai Stakes at Newmarket on soft ground. A mile and a half, 27th of September. First off the 3-month refreshing, he won by 5 lengths that day, and from a track and trip, he quickened up nicely. Nobody was catching this horse. They needed a race. They got a race under her belt. Coming back here to soft ground, being forwardly paced, to Ascot, I think she could get to the winner's circle today. I think she's drawn very well, and from her kind of running style, come from mid-pack on the inner course, I think that's going to be really key for her to get good position, and I think she could get the good position to win. She ran 2 back in the Princess Wales of Stakes at Newmarket, a mile and a half, 11th of July, where she finished third by 6 lengths that day, and she kind of stalked that day. She just couldn't get up the hill well. The winners in front of her just had the better trip than her, but she ran her heart out. It was an improvement off the race forward. She came in the Coronation Cup at Epsom over the mile and a half. She finished 5th by 23 lengths that day. She was on the drive, just not excelling. I don't know if she liked the quirkiness of Epsom that day. And then in the Jockey Club Stakes at Newmarket over the mile and a half, finishing second by 2 3/4 lengths off the bench. She needed the race that day. She moved a little bit late, but Outbox really did have the jump on her. She ran this one last year where she just sat a little bit too close to the front end on the very demanding ground, and she just kind of yielded late. Also, I thought you saw a very tired horse. She had quite a few races in last year's fall campaign. She won the Dubai Stakes last year quite easily, closing up from nowhere, and won the Prix de Carrel in France quite easily also. But I think that she's been lightly raced coming to the spot. Off a decent run, she can handle given the ground. I'll give her a shot on the ticket. I think the 3-horse Queen of Pride for Ocean Murphy and Jonathan Thady Gosling could win also. Most recently ran the horse in the Yorkshire Oaks, where she just did not have anything. She finished 8th by 25 lengths, and she just was on the drive, not excelling. Maybe she just wasn't comfortable that day. She's refreshing here. She's going to have to overcome a very wide parking lot post row, but I think she has ability to win. Her race in the Lancashire Oaks wasn't bad at all, where she closed up from nowhere. She didn't break in the Leicester Piggott Stakes at Haydock before that, but she still won by a head, being used a lot that day. She's handled soft ground at the beginning of the season. Coming here, I'm going to throw out that last race. I think she has hidden ability to get a trip to win. I would use her in the quarter place pot here. But to recap my selection now for the 235, the third race now from Ascot, it is Group 1 British Champions Fillies Mare Stakes. We're going to go take a shot with the number 8 horse Time Lock. Give kudos to the 3 horse Queen of the Pride, 8-3-10, Tricast Trifecta, 8-3 in the multi-race. Let's get to the fourth race now, the 315, which is the co-feature on the program. It is the Group 1 Queen Elizabeth II Stakes. It's a Group 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $1.4 million, nearly 1.5 here in American currency. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards, field of 13 horses, a baker's dozen going 1,600 meters or the straight mile here at Ascot. I'm going to go with the number 3 horse, Factor Cheval. I'm going to go 361 in the Tricast Trifecta, 361, Tricast Trifecta, top selection of the horse, Factor Cheval. This 5-year-old gelding by Ribchester here. Team Valor owns this one. Renier trains this one. Maxime Guillaume comes in from France to ride this horse. They ran the horse most recently in the Group 1 Sussex Stakes at Goodwood over the mile on the 31st July, where he finished third by 1 3/4 lengths that day. And he was with him early on, stalking. He just couldn't catch notable speed Fillet, who just had the jump on him. But this horse, he got down the race course well. He's coming here off a little bit of refreshing. Can handle it given the ground. He ran here well last year. I'm going to give him a shot to win here off the bench. He ran 2 back in the Queen Anne locally, a mile on the 18th of June, where he finished 6 by 8 1/4 lengths. This, Sharon, who's running back, this one was the next start winner, really took off clear that day. This horse stalked that day. He just was flat late. Probably need the race off the bench, but again, I've seen worse race from him. And then the Dubai Turf at Maidan over the mile on the 8th, being a good group of horses home, winning by a head from a mid-pack trip. He really took off clear. He ran this one last year where he finished 2nd by 6 lengths. Big Rock took off clear, but this horse, he sat back early. He was really moving late. Just a little bit too much ground to gain on the soft ground, but he got down the race course well. And then last year's Prix de Moline, the Longchamp over the mile, he finished third by 1 1/4 lengths behind Saturn and Big Rock, who was the next start winner in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes here at Ascot. But again, he kept going down the race course. I like that he's lightly raced coming into the spot. He can handle it given the ground. He's drawn very well on the inside. I think he could win. I think the 6-horse Prague for Daniel Thudhope and Dylan Cohn can win also. Most recently, he was a winner in the Joel Stakes at Newmarket over the mile on soft ground, winning by 3 3/4 lengths. A horrible beginning that day, but after that, he sat back early and then just slowly recovered and had the turn of foot to win late. I thought that was a very good race after all said and done. Again, not a lot of forwardly pace with this horse, but he gained a lot of ground the Superior Mile before that Haydock over the mile, where he finished 2nd by a half length, staying the trip well. He's a very lightly raced horse, but he's been doing everything right. I know it's a massive step up in class here with him, but I think he has ability here. And even the 1-horse Sharon for Sylvester de Souza and Roger Varian, I believe this is going to be either his final start or he's going to go start today and run in 2 weeks at the Brewer's Cup. But this horse, winning in France in the Prix Jacques Maurice 2-back was quite impressive. Massive place in the Prix de Moulin de Longchamp behind Tribalist. He's done everything right. He won the Queen Anne earlier this year, placed in Lockage. He's won here at Ascot, like I said, quite easily, and had a good place here 2 seasons ago in the St. James Palace. He's a consistent horse. He always runs these good races. He could win, but even money, he's going to get very overbet in the spot. But if you want to use him in the play spot, I understand. I would definitely use him as the insurance play, but I think you could go a few ways in this one. But to recount my selection for the 315 now from Ascot, it's the Group 1 Queen Elizabeth II Stakes. We're going to go take the number 3 horse Factor Cheval, give kudos to the 6-horse Prague and the 1-horse Sharon, 361 Tricast Trifecta. Use all 3 of them in the multi-race. Let's get to the feature 5th race now, the 355, which is the Group 1 Champion Stakes. It's a Group 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $1.6 million, nearly 1.7, so great prize money here. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards, 12 horses are going 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the turf course. I'm going to go take here as a top selection the number 10 horse Los Angeles. I'm going to go 10-7-8 in the Tricast Trifecta. 10-7-8 Tricast Trifecta, top selection 10 horse Los Angeles. This 3-year-old colt by Camelot here. Colmar owns, Aiden O'Brien trains, Ryan Moore gets the mount. I thought this horse ran terrifically in Arc a few weeks ago at Longchamp over the mile and a half. Nearly 2 weeks ago, he finished third by 2 1/4 lengths. He was with him early on. Blue Stocking and Aventura just caught this horse late, but he ran his heart out. I think he's going to benefit with some less ground. He's going to have a little bit of a wide poster here today, but I think he could settle well and get a trip to win or use his was forwardly paced to get the job done. They changed the tactics too back in the Irish champions over the mile quarter at Leopardstown. He came from quite far behind. He finished fourth by length. Economics, who won that day's running back, there's one today, but he closed it from nowhere. Not a bad race and defeat with the change in tactics. And then from a tracking trip in the Great Voltaire at York over the mile and a half, winning by a neck. He abused a lot that day, but he got the job done. He's won over a mile and a half. He was the Irish Derby winner a few, this past summer. But I do think his better trip will be back to a mile and a quarter. Back to it today. To soft ground, which he handled a few weeks ago. I'm going to give him a shot here at 6-1. I think the 7-horse Caladagan for Stefan Pasquier can win also. Was a winner 2 back in the King Edward here at Ascot over the mile and a half back in June. Won by 6 lengths. Horrible beginning, but he settled well after that. Quickened up nicely. Drawn in the parking lot that day. He flew home clear late. He ran his hard on, nearly getting the City of Troy and the Jedmont International. Probably one of your favorites in the Brewers Cup Classic in a few weeks' time. He finished second by length behind him after, being out of it early on. For that turn of foot that he had behind the Derby and Derby winner, not a bad race in defeat that day. He's done everything right in France. Coming back here to the UK. It wouldn't surprise me if he finds a trip to win. Even the 8-horse Economics, he's going to be a very heavy choice here, and he's done everything right also, winning the Dante, win the Prix Julien d'Arnaud at Deauville in midsummer, and came back to win the Irish Champions quite nicely, closing it from nowhere. He's done everything right. I'll give him a shot here, but the biggest question with him is, will he be very lightly raced for this spot? That's my biggest question. But he does have the ability to win here, but I think Los Angeles and Caladagan are your two likelier winners than him, but it's going to be a very good champion stakes here. So to recap my selections now for the 5th of the 355 from Ascot's, the Group 1 champion stakes, going to take the 10-horse Los Angeles. I give kudos to the 7-horse Caladagan and the 8-horse Economics. 10-7-8 Tri-Cash Trifecta, 10-7-8 in the place pod. Let's get to the 6th race now. The 335, which is the nightcap on the program. It is the Balmoral Handicap. It's a Class 2 handicap going for a $254,000 purse race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 23 horses entered, but only 20 could go 1,600 meters or a mile on the turf course. I'm going to go take the number 14 horse, Tommy Son, as a top selection. Tommy Son. I'm going to go 14-8 in the forecast exacta. I'm just going to give you 2 horses here. 14-8 forecast exacta. Top selection 4 horse, Tommy Son. This, David Mansour trade and 5-year-old going by Twilight Sun. Ocean Murphy picks up the mount. They ran the horse most recently on 28th September at Newmarket, a mile and the 8th in a Class 2 Heritage Handicap that day, and he finished 3rd by 2 1/4 lengths there in the Cambridgeshire, where he just kind of stalked that day. He moved a little bit late. The winner just got the jump on him, but he ran his heart out 28-1. Refreshing here. Very good posture. Back to soft ground, which I think he likes running on better than the fast ground. I think he could run a trip to win. Biggest question with him is he doesn't run these good races locally, though. His most recent race here in the Buckingham Palace Handicap 2 seasons ago, or last season, he really ran horribly, where he didn't get out of the gate so clearly. But also, I have noticed his form as recently hasn't been half bad, so maybe he's just a better horse as recently, and he can handle Ascot today. He ran 2 back in a Class 3 handicap at Goodwood over the mile, where he finished 4th by 1 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he sat back early. He moved a little bit late. Not in defeat, not a bad race that day. And then the Golden Mile handicap at Goodwood over the mile during the glorious meeting, winning by 2 lengths from a tracking trip. He really took off clear. He's been running in Goodwood and Newmarket most of the season, running these good races. Like I said, his form hasn't been bad recently. Gets a good weight of 123 pounds, getting Murphy back up, who connected with his horse with the victory a few starts back. I think he can win. I think the 8-horse Days for Our Lives from Marco Body and Mitchell can win also. He was a winner last time out in a handicap at Doncaster over the mile and a quarter, winning by a neck, closing it from mid-pack. He had abused a lot that day and find a good luck trip that day, but he found that lucky trip to get through. Good race. He ran 2 back here in the Royal Hunt Cup over the mile here in June, where he finished 4th by 1 1/4 lengths, where again he gained a lot of ground late, but he just missed. It was a very good 4th place finish at 20-1, and then a Class 3 handicap locally over Newmarket over the mile and a quarter, where he finished 2nd by 1 1/4 lengths, where again he gained a lot of ground. He ran here twice last season, where he had decent races. He placed with Uzo and had a decent 3rd here in October of last season. Coming back here with some decent runs locally. He's another horse I think he can win. I would use him in the multi-race. But to recount my selection for the 435 now, the 6th race from Ascot's nightcap on the program, it is the Balmoral Handicap. We're going to go take the 14-horse Tommy Son. Give kudos to the 8-horse Days of 4 Hour Life. 14-8 forecast exact. Use them both to end off the quad pot and plays pot. So with that being said, good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.